Hello and welcome to Binge. I'm Harry Judd.
And I'm Alex Jones. Now, today, listeners, we are doing something a little bit different because we thought, who should we have as a guest? And then we thought, well, we feel like we've learned a lot about Harry during the course of making this podcast. About your, viewing habits, your bowl of chocolate on your tummy in bed when you're watching your iPad, Veep. The love story continues. And all of this. And we thought, I know.
Let's see if it's all true.
There's somebody with a new podcast out and she will be a fantastic guest. But she also happens to be Harry's wife.
That's right.
Our guest today is Izzy Judd, and she can verify the information that we've had so far. It'd be like a truth test. Now then, we are very excited to team up with Ninja CRISPi, the ultimate cooking solution for prep, cooking, storing and cleaning. And we are giving you the chance to win your very own CRISPi.
Yes, exciting stuff. Here's how it works. If you're a time-poor person or busy parent, all you need to do is tell us why you really need a CRISPi in your life. Why is juggling work, kids and meals chaotic in your world? Tell us why you need something that cooks faster than your ability to decide what to watch next.
Oh, nicely put. Now, whatever your reason, we would love to hear from you. Send us in your best I Need a CRISPi story. And Harry and I, along with the Ninja CRISPi crew, will pick the most compelling tales. Send us your stories by emailing hello@bingepodcastofficial.com. Put in CRISPi in the subject column. So just remind us of your viewing habits as a couple.
Right, okay. Well, I feel like we're quite unlike other couples because every guest we've had on, it seems that they collaborate with their partners on what they're going to watch and they watch things together and they have to wait for one another. But Izzy and I'm afraid it's not like that. It's very rare that the stars align and we watch the same thing because we have very different tastes.
Reading through Izzy's stuff that she'd like to recommend, oh my goodness, we're practically the same person.
Well, I did consider maybe not coming to today's record because I know what she likes and it's exactly what you like. So you two will have a good old natter about the stuff, I'm sure.
And I generally hate the things you suggest. So, yeah, I mean, that bit we know is true.
Yeah, so...
And where does Izzy watch? Because we know you watch in bed with your...
With my iPad, yeah. Izzy sometimes watches downstairs. She's often next to me reading a book whilst I've got my iPad 2 inches from my face.
Good practice before bedtime.
Very good practice, really soothing.
I mean, she's the queen of meditation, and there she is with a husband who's blue light in his face before he tries to sleep.
Yeah, she sometimes watches in bed. I mean, look, I'll let her tell you.
Okay. Are you nervous at all?
No, she's very sweet, Izzy. I'm sure I'll be fine. We'll see.
Well, we know Izzy's very sweet, but obviously things will crop up that we've talked about.
I've got nothing to hide, Al. Nothing to hide.
Okay, well, let's see. Should we get Izzy on?
Yeah, let's do it.
Joining us now is a classically trained violinist, author, mindfulness advocate, podcaster and mum of 3. Here to share what she binges when she finally gets a moment to herself, what Harry is really like at home, and to tell us all about her new podcast, Let's Talk Neurodivergent Kids, it's the very lovely Izzy Judd. Hiya, Izzy.
Hi, guys. It's so nice to be here.
Look at him, like a little quiet child in the corner.
You should have added long-suffering wife of
I don't believe that. I think you're a very nice person.
All right, I'm okay, yeah. We get by, don't we? What?
Just leaving you hanging.
Very quiet.
No, we do.
How long have we been together? I'm 20 years this year.
2005.
It's 20 years this year.
Yeah, we met on the Wonderland tour.
And we did, yeah.
So were you playing violin on the tour?
I was playing the violin and I actually got mumps before the tour started. So I'd gone to the rehearsals and then woke up feeling really unwell. And obviously mumps is contagious. So I was taken off the tour. And then I came back 2 weeks later and joined
for the last 2-3 weeks of the tour.
Yeah.
So can you remember, Harry, the first time you saw Izzy?
Absolutely, yeah. We were actually doing a live radio show in a church in Bristol. And we were on the tour bus arriving at this church, and we knew there were going to be some string players for this live gig that we had. And we walked into the church, and I remember very clearly seeing Izzy for the first time, and we sort of walked down the pew and I said, "Hi, I'm Harry. Nice to meet you," and gave her Did I give you a cuddle?
I remember that you were wearing a checked jacket, which was like sheep lined. And I did have this like weird experience of feeling like I'd known him.
Did you?
I don't know if Harry...
No, I mean, yeah, I remember the moment very...
Say yes.
Yes, absolutely.
No, it's absolutely fine. But I just remember I was not looking at the time. I'd just had my heart broken and my grandmother had died and I was just not in any place to certainly not someone that was in a pop band.
Yeah,
but there he was.
Yeah, and your best friend at the time, or still your best friend, you said to her, "Oh, I quite like him," and I remember you were saying she laughed because she thought Izzy was joking because she'd never heard her say that about anyone. And yeah, so then when we got to actual rehearsals and I found out she wasn't there because she was ill, I was like, oh, gutted. And then when she did join the tour, we spent the entire rest of the tour just not talking and avoiding each other kind of awkwardly.
And we'd been under strict instructions not to
talk to the band.
To talk to
Why?
the band.
I didn't know this.
And by who? The record company?
I don't think they wanted us to be a distraction.
By management.
Because you were, clearly.
Because I'm such a good girl who doesn't like to break rules. I waited until the last night of tour.
Yeah.
When Harry finally...
started talking. They talked to you for the first time.
A hotel in Cardiff.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
All the good things happen in Cardiff.
The last night of tour, and we were the penultimate night of tour, and we had like a party to celebrate, and so we were integrated with the orchestra for the first time and like chatting to them and stuff. And me and Izzy talked for the first time, and I remember it. Do you remember it was quite awkward because we both sort of knew that we'd been talking about each other but hadn't really spoken. And yeah, we were in Cardiff. And I just need to get her on her own. How do I get her on her own? So what did I do? I got our security guy.
Terrified me because the security guy came up to me and went, "Izzy, a word."
Can I have a word outside?
No.
And I was waiting.
And did you think, what have I done?
Yeah. I was, yeah.
And you were outside?
Waiting outside, yeah.
That is so a showbiz story. I sent my security guard inside to
I was just like,
Izzy.
mate, just go and tell her that she's needed outside.
Oh.
Because we were in a bar and it was like quite quiet. It's like a hotel bar and I didn't want to just in front of everyone be like, do you want to come outside?
You also asked me what I wanted to drink and I said, I'll have an orange juice. And then you were like, it transpired that I don't drink.
Yeah, that's right.
You were like, oh no.
So that was that would be 20 years this coming October.
Wow.
So it's safe to say I know Harry quite well.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then we met, Izzy, when Harry did Strictly.
We did.
But also, I was just saying, pushing a pram down Chiswick High Street.
Pushing a pram.
We saw each other a lot during those early years.
We did.
And now you're here and you've got a brilliant podcast. Well, I came on your last one, which was all about fertility.
Yeah. In 2018, which is just...
Yeah.
I can't believe it's that long ago.
But that was a brilliant podcast because it really served a purpose, I think. And a lot of people have spoken to me about that one and said that they learned so much and felt not only that, but just felt solidarity and that they weren't alone. So
I think it's one of those things, isn't it? When you feel the need for something yourself and it's not there, when you do eventually open up and talk about it, then people feel safe enough to talk to you and that community is built.
Yeah.
And I think... that was what was, in a way, it was so frightening with Let's Talk Fertility because I was opening up about something that was incredibly personal, but I also knew that it was much needed and that I was not alone. And I think that's kind of what's driving me with my new podcast, Let's Talk Neurodivergent Kids, because it's very difficult when it does affect you personally. But I sort of have this desire that I need to talk about it and create a safe space and build a community for others that are experiencing the same difficulties, because then you suddenly realise you're not as alone as perhaps you felt.
Yeah. I think there's a definite need for that type of podcast. So many people don't really know where to go for advice. I mean, there's loads of them online, of course, but there aren't really any podcasts, there aren't any programmes that talk about it with experts. And I'm guessing that's what you'll do on this podcast.
Yeah, so there are podcasts. Quite a few of them are American and they're very, very expert heavy. But when you've just done a school run and it's not gone to plan and you're kind of at breaking point, you just want that that mum that you might sit with in a coffee shop and talk about the difficulties you're facing. And I think that's where I have felt the need to speak to experts, to give the sort of the practical tips that we need that will help and will make a difference, but also personal stories for people that, you know, are speaking the same language as you. And actually, I was quite shocked to read that it's 1 in 7 children are neurodivergent, we think, in this country. That's an awful lot of families that are basically facing these sort of overwhelming daily difficulties without any qualifications and basically muddling through trying to work out how to get their child the support that they need in a system that's quite broken. There's a lot of children that are sort of in between, where they don't fit mainstream, but they also don't fit special school environments, and they're really falling in the cracks. And you know, it's a big subject, and there are a lot of layers, and there are a lot of people to talk to. So I'm just really looking forward myself exploring more about the subject, but also being able to, as I say, create that safe space, build that community, and hopefully help others know that they're not alone.
Yeah, it's I mean, very admirable, because my experience of Izzy doing this, it's very similar to the Let's Talk Fertility. She felt just an overwhelming sense of responsibility to talk up and to help others. And the same thing I've witnessed happen with Let's Talk Neurodivergent Kids, because, you know, we've been going through a personal thing with our family, and you know, it's obviously a delicate thing to balance for us in terms of how open we are. But Izzy's felt compelled to talk about it and felt very passionate about that. And as a mother, you know, and me, as hopefully as a psychic, have learned so much about it. And as I said, has felt sort of compelled to put this podcast out there from a place of passion. And so I may not say this at home, but I commend you.
I commend you.
Yeah, I commend you. No, but it's admirable. Like, you want to help others, and that's very special. And I'm sure it's going to be great. So.
Yeah, I think there'll be a big audience for it, because there isn't anything. It's a very underserved topic.
It's almost like every day.
Affects loads of people.
Yeah, every day. You know, it sort of feels like we meet someone, you know, from a family that says, "Oh, well, my third child or my second child, or I'm going through this at the moment, and, you know, I'm not sure how to navigate it." It's difficult enough having children, but when you throw that into the mix, it's a complete minefield. So
it's also the conversation starter. It's being the one to feel you can open up, because, you know, as Harry was saying, it is a very personal subject to the child, but I very much want to tackle it from the parent point of view. You know, when you're standing at the school gates and you feel like you are slightly that outsider, because the notifications that are coming through on a WhatsApp group, you know, are about a child forgetting, you know, a piece of uniform, and you're just thinking, I just want my child to get into school in their uniform or not in their uniform. Your perspectives are very, very different. So, you know, when you feel like you're slightly on the outside, and when you're experiencing more neurotypical behaviour as well, then you've got a lot of balancing that needs to be done there within the family. And I think through doing the podcast and the people I've spoken to and the books I've read, we've learnt so much about parenting. So actually, it's not necessarily specific to the child that needs the needs. It's actually benefiting the whole family, because we're questioning traditional parenting. We're questioning whether that is the way we want to parent, whether it's because that's what we were exposed to as children. Is it really important to all sit at the table after a day at school when they just need to move and have that freedom?
A lot of the advice we've gotten, and, you know, I was listening to Izzy's first episode, a lot of the advice you get is so contradictory to what your instinct is as a parent, and so it then takes practice as a parent to then put that into place. So it's really fascinating.
Well, your instinct is sometimes more learned behaviour, isn't it?
Exactly.
This is how it was when we were younger. This is what mum and dad did. And often it's what mum and dad did because they did their best. But of course, they didn't have the resources. They didn't have the information. Any of the stuff that we have, they didn't have the books on parenting that are now, you know, there's so many of them. So I think we're in a similar space where we have looked at the more traditional, if you like, methods and thought, well, does this work for this particular child? And often the answer is no, it doesn't.
And is it creating more stress and pressure for them? And ultimately, you just want your kids to be happy and well equipped to then, when they're ready to flee the nest, to go into adult life and be able to cope with life, you know.
Yeah.
And as he said, a lot of it is about how we as a family, not just the individual, but we as a family can enjoy our lives together. And a lot of the work that needs to be done is on us.
Yeah.
You know, and helping the other siblings.
And it's very hard when there's 3 children. And obviously we all know about that, having 3 apiece. You know, sometimes it has to be finding a way of getting through that actually sits okay with the other 2 as well, and not just one child. It's a very, very tricky balancing act, isn't it?
One of the biggest things that's kind of surprised me actually is the feeling of choice. So when you've got a child that's very compliant and does as they're told, you actually realise you kind of overparent in a way. You sort of hover around them because, and usually with your first, and you actually don't enable them to make their own decisions and their own choices. And when you have a child that sort of challenges that, another child comes along and challenges that way, and then you start to open up different options, you realise, oh my goodness, this child doesn't know how to make a decision or a choice because I've just done everything. You know,
they don't know how to communicate often how they're feeling. They communicate it through, traditionally what we would see as bad behaviour, but it's not actually bad behaviour. They're just...
No, well, I think in the earlier parenting books that you probably read as well, Izzy, this kind of, the emphasis is there's no such thing as bad behaviour. It's coming from somewhere, or something is triggering it that is beyond their control in a lot of, we're not talking teenagers, we're talking 4 or 5-year-old.
Yeah.
And with neurodivergent kids, it is a hidden disability. With more visible disabilities, the ramps are put in, differences are made to accommodate those people. But when you have hidden disabilities, and I know that even with my brother who has a brain injury, who physically looks able, and we've got this hidden disability, we need to do better, I think, to make the neurotypical world more accepting, more accommodating of the neurodivergent world, rather than the other way around. And actually, there are a lot of children that would benefit from more movement breaks. I could go on about all the differences that could be put in place at school to help the children feel more comfortable, and that actually would benefit all the
everybody.
Children. Exactly.
Yeah. When is the first episode?
The first episode is the 28th of April.
I should know that.
Yeah, you should.
Well, I have had a listen to the first episode on the tube as he got me to listen to it. And I was sat there like, oh, very interesting.
There's a lot to unpack, though. There's a lot of information, lots of layers to that. So that'll make a very interesting podcast. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It was needed. Now then, Izzy, you are predominantly here, though, well, to talk about the podcast, but also to kind of just either to dispel some myths about Harry or to build the picture even more. We feel like we know him very well now, myself and our listeners. He's painted quite a picture.
An honest picture.
Oh, well, we'll find out if it's honest in a minute. But Harry's viewing habits are, let's have a quick recap.
So basically, unfortunately we have a new bed. So my old contraption doesn't fit onto the new bed.
Hang on. But you've only just had the house done. How many beds are you going through?
Well, we finally got a new bed. So
right.
Izzy's been campaigning for a new bed for years, and I've been like, nope, absolutely not. The old one's fine.
Oh, I like bed chat. What's it like?
Finally, Izzy got her way, and we've got a new bed with a giant headboard, a kind of really nice burnt orange sort of number, isn't it? With a sort of half moon thing. Linen.
But is the problem that the clip doesn't now fit on the headboard?
The clip now doesn't fit on the headboard.
It's game over.
So the ultimate viewing experience...
Cancel the podcast. Harry cannot watch TV anymore.
So annoying. So actually I thought the other day what I might do is pull open my drawer on the bedside table and see if I can clip it onto the bedside table and have it coming from that angle.
Yeah, change the direction of the arm.
Yeah, so I've got this amazing thing that normally clips onto a headboard, but I'm going to try a different avenue. So then the iPad clips into that. I can then just have it hovering above my head whilst I lie down, noise-cancelling headphones in, and I'm away. I'm binging. That's ultimate binging. No disruptions, no chat, no phones, no scrolling. Also, I had a very bad habit of breaking up a bar of Tony's salted caramel into a bowl, popping the bowl on my chest and eating that whilst binging.
I'm going to say that's unacceptable in a new bed that's made of linen.
Yeah, I know.
Because if those bits go anywhere but back in the bowl or your mouth, you're going to have marks on
Alex,
your bed.
you've hit the nail on the head.
But it was every.
I now
it was
have
bad.
chocolate marks. But what I cannot understand is that if I even so much as leave a drop of water next to the sink where the taps are,
It's marble. Because it's marble.
He has a problem with how I wash my hands.
I didn't.
Right, so hang on a minute.
Hand washing is
hang
the
on.
most annoying thing.
Okay, let's do hand washing.
No, so anyway, I don't wash my hands properly.
Can I just tell you what she does quickly? Because you always say the tap. She turns the tap on. She sort of puts her hand underneath the water quickly and just turns it off. And then just sort of walks over to a towel, like flicking water everywhere, and then dries her hands. And I'm like, first of all, that's not washing your hands. And
Okay.
secondly, you're just flicking water
I
around
think
the
we
house.
need to do a poll. What's more annoying, flicked water or chocolate stains on the bedsheet?
Okay, fair.
Well, I know what's going to win, especially with our listeners. They're on our wavelength.
Yeah.
Okay, so Harry's sat there with his iPad. Maybe that's coming from the drawer these days
Yeah.
as opposed to the headboard.
Izzy has a bath.
Izzy has a bath. And then what happens after the bath?
So I usually read,
Lovely.
and then Harry. Most of the time I'm eye mask on and I'm asleep, and
You
Harry
spray your pillow.
Spray my pillow.
Same.
Yeah, with lovely.
Which,
lavender.
by the way, when you're eating chocolate and a bit of that spray gets in your mouth, that is so annoying. Ruins the taste of the chocolate. So Izzy sprays the pillow, bit of lavender, gets her eye mask on. We always give each other a kiss goodnight.
Yeah, that's very important. You know,
But-
couples who don't do that are doomed.
Really?
That's what they say.
Okay.
Yes,
well,
we
that's
do.
It's very simple.
Yeah.
Always good night.
always kiss
Yeah.
goodnight.
Yeah, we've become like
Yeah.
those old people in films.
Good night, dear. Mwah.
Amazing. But I think that, that is a very good bedtime routine. In fact, there was a thing in the paper that bedtime routine is more important than morning routine because there's been, for years, hasn't there, on Instagram, a lot of fuss about what you do in the morning. Get out, get sunlight in your eyes, have a cup of tea, feel the grass. I do none of these things. But all of that.
Yes.
But bedtime apparently is taking over as what we should be
good to
focusing
know,
on.
good
So
to
you're
know.
doing really well.
Yeah.
Does it annoy you that the blue light is then on, though, while you're trying to sleep? Or do you do the eye mask for that reason?
No, I do the eye mask for that reason. But also, I do feel... So if Harry wants to go to sleep before me, he gets really, really frustrated if I'm not in bed, like ready to sleep when he's ready to sleep. So if I'm still like pottering around the bedroom, he's like, how long are you going to... How long are you going to be? Are you going to be? I really want to go to sleep. I've got to run in the morning.
so tired.
I'm so tired. No one's ever been so tired. So yeah, and then I'm like, oh, I better get into bed. Whereas every night Harry is watching, binging something. But no, I'm just a lot more laid back than Harry. I think that's the bottom line.
I think we all know that, Izzy.
But what I do feel a bit sad about is that, so this whole ridiculous routine of the iPad over his head happened when he hurt his back.
Yes.
Because we used to sit in bed and watch something together.
Here we go. Here's the truth.
That's such
now.
a good point.
Right.
That's why it started, because my neck injury.
Yeah.
And I couldn't sit upright for years.
Yeah.
But let's be honest, our taste is not very well aligned. Because, I mean, what do you want to just tell us?
What have we watched together?
Nobody likes this.
Nobody likes-
No, it's not called that.
Nobody wants
Nobody
this.
wants
Nobody
this.
wants this.
We watched watched that over 2 days, didn't we, in Amsterdam?
Yeah.
When I was running a marathon.
What's the other one this is why I'm
We
terrible
binged
for
Downton
this
Abbey
podcast.
together, Izzy.
Downton Abbey when we got married.
Yeah.
And the other one, which is really long. There's loads of series.
Oh, This Is Us.
That's it.
So Downton Abbey, we went on a mini moon and we basically spent the entire mini moon just watching Downton Abbey.
That's lovely.
It was lovely. But then it starts to go a bit off. Oh no, we binged Friends together during lockdown.
During lockdown, we binged Friends together. Yeah, I think we were both feeling a little bit anxious with the whole state of the world.
So a bit of nostalgia.
Yeah, we needed like that comfort watch. So we
Comfort,
started
yes.
Friends from the beginning. We've binged Downton Abbey together. We loved that together.
Yeah.
We watched The Crown together. We loved that.
Yeah.
Nobody Wants This and This Is Us.
Yes.
So that was a very enjoyable experience. But apart from that, I
Now-
mean, let's talk about your favourites. Here we go. You got your list.
I've got my list. Emily in Paris.
Amazing.
I mean, I just wait for the next series to come out of that, and then I binge it.
I mean, Emily in Paris is relaxez-vous telly, if ever there was. Lovely outfits.
Yeah.
Storyline, so easy to follow, and do a bit of WhatsApp on the side.
Yeah.
Ideal.
Lovely little love story.
Yeah.
I love a little love story. Nothing that's going to leave you feeling like your nervous system's a bit
In bits.
fragile.
No.
It's just, yeah.
It's a good night's
It's
sleep
a good
after
night.
that.
Yeah, it's a good night's sleep. Bridgerton.
Amazing.
Bridgerton's amazing.
I feel like there's a theme, Izzy, and I think I've got the same theme going on. Like you quite like, am I right, old schooly quite type stuff.
Yes.
So like not necessarily always a period drama, but something in that vein.
Yeah.
Like a Sunday night.
Yeah, like a nostalgic watch.
Yes.
If there's any sort of intense music or the music dips into a minor chord, Izzy's out. She's out. She's just like...
I find it really, really difficult. I think my imagination just goes on so much longer than when I've watched something. And I really, really get affected by it. And so I just can't go there.
Whereas I'll be watching something really intense and fall asleep whilst watching it.
Yeah.
But we loved, and you two might love this together, and you might have watched it, The Durrells.
Oh, I think I've watched The Durrells.
Oh.
Yes, I've watched
It's about
The
the
Durrells.
famous writers, and they're in Greece.
Yes.
And Keely Hawes plays the mum. Lovely.
It's so good.
That is so good.
Do you know what else I loved? And again, this is just why I'm just so bad to be on this podcast, because I'm...
She's been panicking, speaking to me this week, going, what am I going to talk about?
Well, and every time you've asked me about a hidden gem, you're like, no, it's not really a hidden gem.
What's
No.
your idea of a hidden gem? Go on.
Basically, there's things
I
she's
think
just
I
talked
said
about.
the notebook.
I love the notebook.
It's not a hidden gem, though, is it? Everyone's seen
Maybe
the
I wasn't
Notebook.
thinking about hidden, I was just thinking about a gem.
A gem.
it
A
is.
gem that
Fine.
everybody should watch.
Yeah.
Fiona Button, what series was she
The
in?
Split.
Oh, my.
Fantastic.
And then they did it in Barcelona.
Yeah. Well, we've talked. She's not been, but the writer has been on this podcast, Abby Morgan. Do you remember?
Yeah.
But I loved The Split.
Oh, so good. Again, that's sort of just very easy, kind of love stories. I don't know, just you can escape your world, but without escaping it so much that you're kind of a bit riled.
Izzy. Yeah. Every week, you'll know, we do Desert Island Binge. So a television series, a book and a podcast that you would take with you if you were a castaway. So we will do book first.
So I've put on here Winnie the Pooh.
Okay.
Now, just
That would end
hang on a
quickly.
minute. It's really long, Winnie
Well,
the Pooh, Al.
it is. Actually, Teddy brought it down from the shelf and my heart sank. I was
Oh,
sort
no,
of
Al.
excited that you'd chosen Winnie the Pooh, but then I thought, we're going to be here until Saturday.
Oh, yeah, that's true. No, I'll tell you why. Because Winnie the Pooh was really prevalent in my childhood. And I had that, so there's a lot of memories that evokes. But also as an adult, when you read the words, they have a whole new meaning. So that's why I would love to. Yeah.
I haven't really, I mean, I've read, well, we got through 4 pages.
It's very funny. It's very charming.
And I can hear Harry's so good at impersonations.
To be honest, I've got a real soft spot for Winnie the Pooh, obviously, because of Izzy. Like, the some of the quotes she reads, and, you know, it's such a charming
I always
story.
write a Winnie the Pooh quote in cards that I send to people.
Yeah.
I just think it's just lovely writing. So that's my book.
Izzy just said that you're very good at impersonations. Winnie
Okay.
the Pooh, Piglet, Eeyore. We cannot let you get away with not showcasing this talent, Izzy.
Okay, well, I need something to say. I mean, I can only think what I do is...
Look, read that.
Read
Joining
that.
us now is a classically trained.
Oh, I can't do it on demand.
Shall I get you a quote?
Give me a quote.
Are you going to be Pooh Bear?
Pooh
Which
Bear.
one are you
I think I can do Pooh Bear sometimes. I wouldn't be able to do it for a long period of time. I think Izzy's bigged me up a bit too much here.
Harry, you're great at impersonation.
Right.
She does this around my friends, and then this is what happens. My friend goes, "Go on, mate, do it. Go on, mate, do it." And they know that I'm like squirming, and she's like, "Why are you embarrassed? Just do it." And I'm like, "Stop it, Izzy."
This is one of his. This is up in our. This is up in our bathroom.
Oh,
this one,
Piglet.
Harry. I don't know if you've noticed.
If ever. I'm trying to be really serious.
Right.
Okay,
Pretend nobody's here.
Okay. Hang on a second. Let me just see. I can't do this whole.
We look away.
Okay. You can't do impressions when you're smiling. It's impossible.
Okay, we won't look at you. Right. Okay. I'm laughing.
Oh,
Sorry.
Okay, I'm just getting into the voice. Oh, Piglet, Piglet, if ever there was a tomorrow.
This is too brilliant. Come on.
Okay.
Come on. Focus now.
Oh, Piglet.
Do you want to find one about honey?
If ever there is a tomorrow. No, I can't do it. I can't do it.
You've lost a big
I've
contract there.
Sorry.
What about Eeyore, Harry?
Eeyore, come on.
Sweetie, since when have I been able to do an impression
just
of
lower
Eeyore?
your voice, Eeyore. Come on.
Okay.
There we go.
Don't mind me. Oh dear Piglet, my tummies are rumbling. Is there any more honey, Piglet? How about
That's very good.
Is that all right?
That's very nice.
Yeah, thank you.
So, yeah, that's my book.
Okay. So, TV series then.
TV series, Friends.
Okay. And podcast.
So my podcast would definitely be Parenting Hell, which I discovered when Lockie was born, and it saved my nights. And I would have to contain my laughter. I just went right back to the beginning.
That's why I had to wear earplugs, because you just breastfeeding makes me laugh.
It's just so good. And when I go on my dog walks or anything like that, it's just...
They're good company, aren't they?
They're just good company.
I've never seen Izzy so excited for anything I've ever done in my career. When she found out I was going to be a guest on Parenting Hell, she was like, oh my God, are you kidding me? She was like, can I be there? Can I be in the room? Like, so excited. And it was an absolute joy to be on. So yeah, that was
But it is that classic thing where they make you feel like they are your friends and you're having a conversation with them.
Yeah.
It is an absolute belter of a podcast. It's so well done.
Yeah.
Izzy, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
I'll see you later on.
Yeah, see you later.
It's been really nice. But that is all we've got time for. Don't forget, we would love to hear about what you're watching, what you're reading, what you're listening to. You can email us hello@bingepodcastofficial.com, or of course, the number is in the description should you want to WhatsApp us or send us a voice note.
Binge is a Viral Tribe entertainment production. So join us next time as we help you sort the binge-worthy from the...
Binge-worthy. Goodbye.